Thank you for tuning in to Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. I am music producer Achickwitbeatz,
And I'm entrepreneur Breezy Gipson.
and we're glad that you're with us today. We've got a great show lined up for you, chock full of music industry news, beats by yours truly, and our special guest, Mr. Will Griggs. So I'm really excited about this episode. How about you?
Oh man, I'm excited. Will, Will Griggs is a legend in all by himself. Yep.
Yeah. So, without any further ado, we'll just go ahead and bring the show to you starting now. So let's go.
Let's go.
All right, we're back with music industry news. And, it's been a lot of stuff kind of going on. And plus, we've got some stories to share with you from last week since we didn't actually get to cover the music industry news. But yeah, lots of good stuff going on, lots of weird stuff going on, and some stuff going on. But, we'll bring you the highlights.
You got me laughing when you said you had some weird stuff going on.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff just kind of depends on how you interpret it. But first off, major record companies release around 3,900 tracks every day. But you know what the problem with that is? It's just a drop in the ocean compared to the 98,500 daily track uploads to streaming services. So this particular period happened from September 1st through October 18th of 2022. And so, only 4% of the music was only distributed by the three major labels, but everything else was independent. So, what does this mean? That they're losing market share. We've kind of talked about this a little bit before, but to actually see those numbers to back it up, I mean, that's pretty huge. So if you just think about that, only 4% of all the music that was uploaded was from big major labels and their subsidiaries. So indies are taking over the game, but you can kind of see it, I guess, when you look back. So when we had shared that Sony had bought the Orchard and AWOL and all that, that was their attempt to try to regain some market share. So chances are we're going to start seeing a lot of labels getting snatched up just to kind of compensate for that. So that way the big three can continue with what used to be their reign. But man, it's really refreshing to know that indie artists have that kind of pull, and out of all the stuff, going up there, hey, indie's where it's at.
Well, the first thing I'm thinking about is that term that DJs use and music lovers use called crate hopping, where they go looking through these crates for some old gold and vintage music and stuff like that. But see, now we can invent a word called stream shopping, stream hopping.
yeah, or e-digging.
E-digging, there you go.
Yeah.
E-digging.
But yeah, it's really kind of empowering as an independent artist to know that, hey, we're running the show, we're the majority, and so if we start seeing these labels doing different things and they start coming at more independent artists, why. So just something to kind of be aware of, keep an eye on, and make sure that you keep going.
Yeah, indie artists standing up and they're pounding their chests and they're saying, "We run this, we run this."
Exactly.
All right, shout out to the independent artists from one end of the globe to the other end of the globe. Oh, shout out.
Absolutely. All right, and something about this 4%. We got another news story here, but Warner's actually reducing their global workforce by 4%. As what they're calling, they're making hard choices in order to evolve. So that means that they're dropping about 270 people. Robert, and I believe it's Kinkle. I've always been confused every time I've seen it, haven't taken the time to check it out. But Robert Kinkle joined as a new CEO 3 months ago, and he made senior hires from YouTube within his first few months. So just within that time, he's created a post for president of technology, and this was in February, and the new function of the EVP of strategy and operations, and he just did this in January. So with them letting go staff but bringing in executives, if you're paying attention to some of these titles, so it looks like they're focusing mostly on technology and strategy and operation. So you can see kind of where they're going with this, especially with the technology. We've been talking so much about crypto, NFTs, AI, and all this stuff going on. So that means that they must be planning something. So, hey, if you got the scoop or know something or can predict some of the news stories that we've got coming forward from Warner, feel free to reach out and let us know.
Yeah, reach out.
All right, speaking of AI, just in case you haven't heard by now, but it's been kind of circulating that Elon Musk and hundreds of other tech and science leaders have called for a 6-month pause on training of AI systems that are more powerful than GPT-4. So over 1,000 signatures were gained for this. So a lot of people are actually behind this. So it includes hundreds of people from tech, science, and academic that are considered leaders in their fields. So they're basically saying that all AI labs should immediately stop the training of systems that are going to be more powerful than this for at least 6 months. And they also wanted to make sure that it's publicly acknowledged that these places have pressed pause on it, because they're aware of the impact that it could have, something that's even more powerful than what's out now. Because of course, people are always working for bigger and better. but there's so many complexities that are involved with AI that it makes sense to kind of pause and make sure that they get their ducks in a row. Because since AI, and we've talked about this with them using it for music, there has to be an artist for the model. And so if they're taking this stuff from artists and feeding it in to create new things, then you have to make sure that the originator is actually compensated properly for it. So it makes sense to kind of pause stuff while, all this growth is happening, just because, I mean, it could be utter chaos if they're not careful with how they roll things out.
Yeah, take a chill pill, take a pause for the cause on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a upbeat, positive type of person, but I still shudder whenever I think of what the ramifications could be if some of that stuff got in the hands of the wrong type of people.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Right. Yeah. So I mean,
we gotta watch.
Yeah. It's like you can't stop it from advancing, but hey, you can at least slow down and make sure that you're doing it responsibly and not putting people out of jobs, especially creatives. So,
yeah.
I mean, I said especially because obviously I'm biased, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Actually, I do know what you mean, because there's a lot of hardworking folks right now who they've got their shoulders to the ground.
So yeah, I mean, AI is definitely something to be aware of, and it needs to be used responsibly.
Exactly. Plus, Google. I'm speaking in terms of the numbers. When people used to say a long time ago, what's the highest number possible, and they'd say Google. So. And not the search engine company.
Right. All right, and BMI has won a 138% increase in live concert rates for songwriters, composers, and publishers. So, I mean, that's a huge percentage, and it's about time. So, it's really good that they, fought for the composers and rights holders. And so now, actually, I should say this was against Live Nation, AEG, and the North American concert promoters, who were actually trying to keep the rate from going up. But now the BMI affiliates will receive 138% higher rate than what's been the historical rate for quite some time. So, it's always good when that can happen. And just in case you weren't aware, to perform music live, that still generates royalties. So it's not like you can just perform somebody's stuff and not owe them money. So, and a lot of times the artists are the ones that get compensated right away, but not necessarily the songwriters, composers, and publishers, who should be compensated every time. So, this is definitely a victory, and we kind of hope to see more of that, because these rates have been too low for too long. And so, yeah, it's about time that some stuff started changing.
It really is. It truly is. And so big ups to the different types of income levels that are heading towards some of these songwriters and creatives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Believe has acquired Centric, which is the UK-based music publishing platform that was valued at $51 million. And so Believe says that the acquisition is their first step and rolling out a global and comprehensive publishing business. So once again, we're talking about royalties. So they've recognized the value here, and they're getting ready to kind of kick up some dirt, stir, and ruffle some feathers and whatnot. So once again, when you're seeing these companies make this purchase, they're telling you where they believe the money's going. They're following the money. And so, if you're an independent artist, make sure that you have your publishing ducks in a row, just because you never know when something you have might blow up, and you want to make sure that you're properly compensated for it. So yeah, they're making a move into publishing in a major way, and hey, that's a good tip, good advice from them, to just kind of watch and mirror what they're doing.
Absolutely, positively.
All right, and we've talked about Utopia in the past. They've had different issues here and there, but they kind of seem to be piling up a little bit now. And so they offloaded Centric to Believe. So, the ones we were just talking about in the previous story, but they've got tax debt that's kind of boggling them down. And some of their employees in Sweden are actually being unpaid. So it looks like they've got some issues happening, but with them offloading Centric to Believe, that's the second company that they've offloaded within 18 months of purchase. So it's showing you that there's some trouble happening, because last month they sold their music industry directory and data platform roster back to the original founders. Also, the new CEO just exited recently, and they're still claiming, their releases that, we're very positive about our future. Well, I mean, I guess you kind of have to be at this point, because it doesn't seem like there's any place for them to go but up. I mean, because they're basically at rock bottom right now from the looks of it. But in November, they laid off 20% of their global staff, which was primarily from their central team. So they got rid of high-level executives and some of the people in their tech-focused sectors. So, I mean, and you know how important that is. We've just talked about all the things that are happening with technology and music. So that's kind of an interesting choice. It kind of lets you know how bad they're hurting, even though they're trying to appear optimistic. But the company restructured in January, and they named Roberto Neri as their new CEO of Utopia's music services. But just 62 days later, he's saying that he's leaving and he's heading someplace else, actually to Believe. Yeah, so we'll see what's going on. Hopefully they can pull it together and kind of get some of that optimism that they were hoping for. But we'll see. And as the news trickles in, we'll definitely filter it right to you.
That's right. Sure will.
Hey, BMG has announced that their revenues jumped 30.6% to over $900 million last year. And it spent $400 million on catalog acquisitions. But they're saying not all of that was due to the catalogs that they had just bought. They've got some other stuff in the fire. But the company's annual revenues are they'll increase by tens of millions. But this is the first time it's been hundreds of millions since they rebranded as the new BMG in 2008. So once again, it's showing you the royalties are really important and things are looking up for them. And, hey, it's always good when we hear stories like this.
Well, as we have a tendency to say right here on our show, is that don't let these high dollar news stories knock you out the box. What that does mean is that for indie artists and creatives, there's a lot of opportunity. Okay, mm-hmm. Just as somebody else has created these high dollar opportunities and valuations and income, you as an indie artist, as a creative, you can do it yourself as well. So mm-hmm. if you have something on your mind, on your brain, you put your mind to it and you do the proper research, and you surround yourself with folks who are positive people who can lend value to what you're doing to make it a better project, then by all means, right? Because exactly. An indie artist, a creative, can do the same thing that these large, major scale enterprises are doing. And don't let the fact that these enterprises are talking major bucks, don't let that scare you out of the race. Mm-hmm. Don't let that scare you out of the groove. Okay. And because they started somewhere themselves. Okay, so just want to throw that in again, because there could be some people on the fence and they hear these high dollars and it causes them to jump off the fence and they give up. No, never, ever, 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 ever give up.
Exactly. 100%. Great point. All right. Warner Brothers Discovery has scaled back their plans to sell their music assets because the bids fell short of their target price. So the company wanted as much as $2 billion for the music assets, but since the bids came in around $1.2 billion up to $1.3 billion, what was filtering in, since it wasn't where they wanted it to be, they figured they should just hold on to it. But the catalog includes soundtracks to classic movies and TV shows, just kind of ranging from the Batman movies to Singing in the Rain. So that means, I mean, it's worth a lot. And so, kudos to them for deciding to hold on to it until they can get what it's actually worth.
Mm-hmm. Hey.
All right. And Sony has shut down the Arista Nashville label. And so most of the label artists will be absorbed into Sony Music Nashville. And the promotion and artist development staff will be shifted to RCA and Columbia. Sometimes we see a lot of that consolidation happening, and then sometimes they'll break back out. So we'll see what happens.
Wow. Another example of stuff that takes place every other day.
Absolutely. All right, and Live Nation announced the acquisition of the majority interest in Hong Kong festival promoter Clockenflap. And so the acquisition includes the annual festival and Clockenflap Presents, which is its live music touring division. But their ticket platform, Ticketflap, is going to remain independent. And of course, this announcement followed the first ever sold out Clockenflap in March after a years-long hiatus. So what does that mean? Live Nation's been watching and they said, hey, we want a piece of that.
Well, if there's any money to be made, people are looking at it under the radar, under the magnifying glass, and they're checking these things.
Mm-hmm. All right, and recording artists Lindsay Lohan, Soulja Boy, Austin Mahone, Lil Yachty, Neo, and Akon were among the celebrities that were charged by the SEC for allegedly promoting cryptocurrency without disclosing the fact that they were compensated to do so. And so all of the ones that were implicated in the case, except for Soulja Boy and Austin Mahone, agreed to pay a total of more than $400,000 in disgorgement, interest, and penalties to settle the charges without admitting or denying the SEC's findings. So, woo, yeah, they were getting some money to promote it, but didn't say anything, just made it look like they were kind of behind it. And you can't do that. That's a big no-no. So, just kind of something to be aware of. Because as independent artists, you're going to get approached by different companies to kind of help them do things. And if you're actually getting paid for it, you need to let people know. So, just kind of something to be aware of.
Yeah, well, nothing surprises me these days. Nothing really surprises anybody.
Yeah.
That's another one of those things.
Yeah. Because those were just the music artists that are listed. So there's a lot more that are included in that. So they're going to have to cough up some of that money for not telling people that they were getting paid.
Ain't that a blip?
Right. All right. And Offset is currently in a dispute with Quality Control over the ownership of his solo recordings. So not the stuff that, Migos has done together, but he signed a contract with Quality Control, agreeing to produce solo records for them back in 2013. But in 2015, Quality Control inked another deal with Capitol Records, giving Quality Control the control of his solo work, the full ownership of his future records that he made from 2018 to 2013. But Offset is saying that he regained control of his solo works when he split from Quality Control in 2021, and he made a separate deal with them. And so he's saying under the new agreement, it's supposed to be his. So we got to see how this plays out, because, if you're looking at it on the surface, both of them are right. So, yeah, we got to see what goes down with that. And as the news pours in, once again, we'll make sure that we let you know what we find out.
Back to court.
Mm-hmm. All right, and that does it for music industry news. We're going to take a quick pause for the cause, and then we'll be back with our special guest. You want to tell them who we got?
Oh, man, the one and only legend himself, the one and only Will Griggs.
Hey fam, this is Breezy Gipson from the Breeze team. How would you like to see an online platform that brings you people who've already indicated that they're interested in your particular type of business? Whether it's your music you're selling, hip-hop clothing, you got a restaurant or a cafe, or if you're an entrepreneur or agent for a business. Visit me at breeze2cheese.com. That's using the number 2, breeze2cheese.com, or click my bio link on my Instagram profile to see a live demo of how this can help you get more customers and make more money.
Hey, this is Achickwitbeatz. I am a multi-genre music producer and strategist to indie artists and labels. Visit my website, achickwitbeatz.com, for resources for artists and instrumentals available in various genres for songs, vlogs, blogs, podcasts, themes, TV, film, commercials, and more. Once again, that's achickwitbeatz.com, ACHICKWITBEATZ. Let's make something happen.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's a big whoa right now because, ladies and gentlemen, listeners from sea to shining sea and all across the globe, you are about to be introduced to one of the coolest, but one of the sharpest and most intelligent people on earth in the business industry and in the music industry and in all kinds of attachment industries. And right now, without stealing any of his thunder, we're going to bring to the line to our show the one and only Will Griggs. Mr. Griggs, are you with us, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Breezy. Thank you so much.
Good deal. So now, I know about you. Achickwitbeatz knows about you. But just share a few moments with our listeners to introduce yourself as to just what you're into today, a little bit about your background, a little bit about that stellar history that I know you're from, and things like that.
All right, outstanding. Thank you so much, and thank you for that glowing introduction. I feel super proud now. I was wondering if I was actually doing anything today. No, I'm just kidding. But we are really excited to have a company that I launched called Modern Artisans Creative these days. And what we've done for a lot of young entrepreneurs is help them really with their digital presence, help them establish either a website digital presence or whatever type of digital marketing that they might need, generally arming them with the ammunition to take to YouTube or Facebook or Instagram and really move the needle for their digital presence and their communications and their corporate ID. So we've been able to establish ourselves as one of the leading enterprises in that regard out here in Southern California. And so that's what we're doing as of today currently. Under that particular business umbrella, we are launching a streaming platform, which is a music video streaming platform called the Reverie Channel. So we're really excited about that because it'll be a chance for people who really enjoy really good soul music, soulful hip hop and house and everything like that to see that not only in one place where they can see all those really great music videos, but more importantly, see a good bit of live performances in that regard. Some pay-per-view live performances from known stars coming down the pike, and some real fun stuff to watch like documentaries and shorts. So that's pretty much what we're doing today, and super excited about all that for sure, especially Reverie.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You said a very interesting mouthful right there. I mean, to be able to help the artists in so many different ways. I mean, that's impact. That's really impact. Achickwitbeatz, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. I mean, I'm sure Breezy could probably imagine how wide my eyes are, maybe even the listeners, because he named the genres that I listen to and documentaries. Like, I go crazy for that stuff. So, man, that's incredible. To be able to offer that. Yeah,
absolutely. It is important that it is set up to support artists, especially a lot of the independent artists and those that have really truly good music and those that have been doing it for a while. One of the elements that'll be part of the Reverie channel is for each content owner or artist whose video is playing at any given time for anyone to enjoy. They actually will have a QR code where they can actually donate and support and be a part of that artist's lives in a financial way more than just giving them a like or a thumbs up or a heart or something like that.
Something they can actually spend. Yeah.
Yeah, something that they can hopefully fold,
Yeah.
Give me some foldables, brother. But no, so we want to, make sure that they have that support. And that's one of the things that we're the most proudest about as far as that particular medium goes, because most artists are trying to monetize what they are doing either through Spotify or through Instagram or through YouTube. And those things are intrinsically hard to make money on.
Absolutely. And you mentioned helping people expand their digital presence. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of that? Because, we kind of discuss it every now and then on the show, but it's something that I think a lot of artists don't really understand how important it is.
Yeah, absolutely. That particular company, which I mentioned, Modern Artisans Creative, started really during the beginning of the pandemic, when people needed to shift their businesses from brick and mortar businesses over to the website, and to help them create an e-commerce presence for themselves or some type of digital presence where they are actually doing a better job at promoting online businesses and also providing what they needed technically for certain things that were pretty popular during that time, such as telehealth services and the like. So that's kind of how that whole thing started. Since then, of course, we've been a few years since the pandemic started. And now, everyone is kind of wanting to, the whole web access situation has changed. Now everyone is used to actually experiencing things through their computers, through their TVs, from the web. And, so it's very, very, very important that between Spotify, all the social media platforms, YouTube and the like, that you have a very recognizable icon, logo, and set of information sources or commercials that really help you identify, or you could easily get washed.
Impactful.
So, that's basically what we've been doing. And we want to intensely step that up when it comes to the music artists as part of this whole thing with the Reverie channel.
Okay, that's phenomenal. So, can you tell us a little bit about your background in music? Like what kind of drew you to it, if you can recall it?
Yeah, I can remember when back in the 90s, I know I'm dating Miss Breezy, back when we met. I actually met Breezy before most of this started, when I was a college radio DJ doing the Urban Flavor Show over at WRAS. And through that, I was able to kind of not only get the whole music industry of Atlanta to kind of get a feel of the type of soul music that we were presenting on the radio at the time, but that actually grew into a live music production and performance company called Achickwitbeatz Soul, which started out as a really popular night at this place called the Yin Yang Cafe on Thursdays. So that started in right around 1994. At the time, I was still a radio DJ over at college radio DJ over at WRAS, which is Georgia State Station. In addition to being an intern at Warner Brothers, and that, that gave me a chance to not only bring kind of the underground listening community and the record company community together all in one place, and of course have a place for the record companies to bring new and upcoming artists to play with the band. Really did give us a chance to kind of understand, hone, and launch that type of energy for the larger concerts, which we started doing once we outgrew the yin yang.
Okay.
Now, what Will had was a huge spoon, and all of these elements were in a big pot. And what Will was doing, he was just stirring that pot up. And so when Chocolate Soul came out, Will stirring that pot up, I mean, it was one of the most delicious endeavors that people had ever even just heard of, not let alone participated in. And so now Will's about to tell you about a resurgence with the Chocolate Soul label. Will?
Absolutely. We, talking about that pot that was being stirred, one of the things that we were really benefiting from is the whole community stirring the pot at the same time. So you had us over at WRAS with our show Urban Flavor and Hip Hop shows over there with rhythm and vibes and everything. We also had WCLK that was really supportive of all of us with Jamal Ahmed and Ken Ryan, Kim Beatty from a music standpoint over there. WREK also, they had some hip hop shows, but they also were really supportive with helping us promote and getting the messages out. And WRFG, Atlanta's real community radio hub, was always an anchor for us and helped us a good bit. And even, V103, some of the DJs at V103 like Greg Street and Little John were really helpful. It wasn't necessarily within their format, but it was such a community feel and community kind of cooperation at the time that we were able to, to not only raise that brand up, but a good many brands like Vagabond Productions, who was also promoting concerts at the time, and Funk Jazz Cafe, and plus you had Chocolate Soul at the time. It was all kind of a really, really growing and festive time for that energy, and we missed that a lot. So in that regard, circling back to that energy, we wanted to relaunch at least the Chocolate Soul apparel brand, because those were times that we won't be able to recreate, and we won't be able to recreate those shows or any of those platforms like they were. But we certainly do want to give credence not only to Chocolate Soul, but to all those soul-oriented platforms that were taking place in Atlanta and around the country during that time. Because the same things that were taking place in Atlanta were taking place in New York at SOBs, in Philadelphia, with Kindred and the Roots and all those guys, with Black Lily. Miami had their poetry scene doing the same thing, and they had things like Nappy at the Roots out here in Los Angeles. So it was a super interesting time, and that energy we want to bring back. That energy, number one. Number two, the energy that we do want to recreate as we're doing the Reverie channel. And the unique thing that Chocolate Soul had was a certain energy and a certain love exchange between the performer and the audience. And, other than capturing that on video back at the time, there hasn't been many experiences that I've gone to that are similar, and viewers back to that feel, energy, and time is best. Now, the standpoint won't be nostalgic or old school. A lot of it will be new and upcoming artists, but we want them to make sure that they're in that performance vein, and that way people will know what they're getting when they come to the channel.
Let me tell you, back in the day when Will was stirring up that big pot with that big spoon, now I had the opportunity to purchase a T-shirt with Chocolate Soul on the front of it. Man, that turned out to be one of my favorite T-shirts of all times. Okay, I wore that and I boasted with that shirt. Okay, and then some kind of way in moving here, there, whatever, the shirt turned up missing. Now I don't think I lost that shirt. I think that shirt got swiped. Okay, but now here we are with the capability. With what Will's got set up, I can get my own new Chocolate Soul shirt. So, Will, tell us about that a little bit.
Absolutely. We were really fortunate to not only be blessed with a really good name, but a really good logo that was a series of designs down in the Atlanta area back in the day. So it really has transferred over really well for our clothing line back then. And want to relaunch that with a lot of new colors and a lot of new combinations and new fabrics and some different types of things now, like tour jacket people is back in the day we put out a compilation line, Chocolate Soul Music compilation line, and we were really fortunate that line was well received, and we were fortunate to be able to distribute that out pretty well during the 90s. So people remember it, but did get some of their CDs swiped.
See, that's how you got something special, right?
Or borrowed. We call that a long-term borrow.
Love it. Yeah. So, with you having that kind of exposure and being able to put different artists on, if you will, and kind of give them more exposure, could you maybe let our listeners know, because we do have a lot of artists that listen to the show, could you let them know kind of what you would look for before selecting someone to perform or to play when you were a radio DJ?
What I always looked for was when someone was performing or when I heard their song, is there an anchor emotion that it evokes? So much music nowadays is pretty much either presenting negative emotions or negative energy or nothing at all. In that regard, it is extremely easy to see and telling when you hear or see those type of artists perform, especially for the first time. One of the artists that we were able to help to kind of get their performances out to the forefront and their music out to the forefront and get known, especially when she first started learning to play and learning to perform and performing, was India Irie. And her manager at the time, Anthony David, which is his artist name, Tony Harrington, he actually introduced me to her and had her performing over at his place for a select group of friends. And in hearing her voice, it was such a tie of history, emotion, and a little sadness that, took you back to the Mahalia Jackson days, or back to the days of slavery. And you could feel it in your bones, So that's the type of thing that you try to look for out of any type of exchange that an artist is going to give, whether that's a performance or something that's recorded. Artists like her and those the group Kindred up in Philadelphia, and CeeLo Green, and all these artists that were looking to push that soul envelope. It was really good to help them have a place to play. Not necessarily as part of a jam session or as something where they're showing up and people are having that as an added bonus. A place where they can really stretch out and do their actual show and really work on their delivery from end to end.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
Well, with this kind of education right here, I mean, there are a lot of folks that you're touching right now. They're reaching out. They're soaking up what you have to share today. And so, I mean, I'm truly excited that you're with us. And so now, how do people, number one, follow you? Number two, how do people learn about the links where they can purchase some of this great clothing and wear that you have going on, and just be in the mix where they can participate with you? How can they do that?
Absolutely. As far as the clothing, they can go directly to the website, which is chocolate-soul-store.myshopify.com. And that way, they can directly buy it, or they can go to our Instagram page, which is my Instagram page, Will Griggs 808, and they can actually directly go to the link from there as well. For anyone who is actually looking to increase their digital presence, or get a website going, or get some marketing materials going for any type of thing that they're doing, especially for YouTube and for social media, they can go to our website, which is www.modernartisanscreative.com.
Whoa, modernartisanscreative.com. Okay. Well, you heard it.
Yeah, so that's us. And, really proud to be on the show with you guys. I know you guys are doing some great things, and everyone who is listening from an artistic standpoint, looking to grow what they're doing, and all of these, courageous, artistic young people, I definitely applaud everyone who is taking all the steps that they can to move their careers forward. And if there's anything we can do, we're certainly here to help. There's certainly things that they can do or that they can keep in mind, which put them kind of ahead of the game or give them a bit of a better start, for sure. Well, and man, I can go through some of those if you like.
Brilliant.
Go ahead.
So
Right.
the first thing I would always admonish them to do is to make sure that along with really good music, you establish a good logo. that logo is going to represent you. It's going to represent your music, and anyone who sees that logo should have the same emotion that your music evokes. So it should be central to who you are musically. In addition to establishing a really good presence online, not only from a web standpoint, but also from a social media standpoint and video standpoint. And the rest of that is taking advantage of as many performance opportunities as you can. But in order to really take advantage of that, you have to really be performed and ready, because that stage is your calling card. And I think that that's what should be considered a lot more prevalently.
Gems.
Calling card. He said it. You heard it. You heard it. Now look, this is like a university right here, Mr. Griggs. You already know that. As many places as you've been, as many spoons as you have stirred up pots with, so what I'm leading to is, in the future, can we have you back?
Absolutely, and thanks for having me today. It's been, a real honor to be on with you guys. I've known Breezy for quite a long time, and has done a lot in the community and actually pushing forward for the community. So, anytime you need me or anything you ever need from me, I'm here.
Oh, we're gonna be sending folks to those websites and to the IG page like crazy. So, because they will benefit from doing that. They'll benefit from going to your website and following you on IG. So, but the clock is staring us blatantly in the face, and so we're gonna have to ease on out of here. But man, you've knocked it out the park, not once, but like 10 times in this short period of time. What you do?
Absolutely. And yeah, we just thank you for taking the time to come join us and share your wisdom. And I'm really looking forward to having you back again soon.
Well, thank you so much. And, everybody look for the Reverie channel in about 60 to 90 days. To be available on your most popular streaming platforms like Roku and Samsung TV.
Fire TV?
Fire TV. That's the one I was looking for. Yeah. Thanks so much. Fire TV as well. And also the iPhones and also Android as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, well, hit us with those JPEGs and stuff like that, man, because it's nothing but a word for us to put that out also and to help you, because that, helping you is actually helping the musicians. I mean, the indie people out there, like you say, they need a better calling card, and you got some of the tools that can help them with that. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the illustrious voice of our guest, the one and only Mr. Will Griggs, and on IG, that's Will Griggs 808. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that'll lead you to his great website and all of that. Achickwitbeatz, you got final comments?
Yep. Nope. That was pretty much all I had to say. So yeah, looking forward to next time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you so much once again.
And what you've taught us with your experience right here is that all of us need a big spoon, but we can't stir up the pot like you did. So we gotta leave them to you.
Hey, you stirring it up, Breezy. You stirring it up.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. So look, be blessed on your journey, and we will meet again in the not too distant future. Take care. Take charge.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right, and that does it for this week's edition of Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. I had a great time. How about you?
Yeah, a lot of education brought forth today, just as usual. A lot of money in this brought forth, but a lot of creative madness brought forth for the indie artists, the creatives, the people out there who are just starting out, or they're in the intermediate range, and so on and so forth, or even the established professionals. So, hey, keep it out here on the spot, and I love what's transpired, the info that was shared for folks, and it'll make them. Oh, hold on.
Yeah. All right. So, we thank you, the listener, for joining us, and we thank our home stations, Grander Radio out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Sparks Radio out of Denver, Colorado. And so till next time, you know where to find us. Tune in, tell a friend, and we'll see you then. Peace.
Peace.